Coming to you live from Gonzaga University, Brooklyn Pop and Olivia Banks.
Good evening, and welcome back to Good Night America.
Tonight, we'll be traveling around the world to find out what it takes to be literate in the 21st century.
What you're probably thinking right now is, doesn't literate mean to know how to read and write? Which is a good question.
Well, to be literate traditionally means to be able to read and write. However, literacy has transformed and expanded to many more skills. According to the National Council of Teachers of English in the 21st century, the definition has changed due to the progression of technology and globalization.
So as technology develops, we as writers need to grow with technology and adapt to be proficient and fluent with the tools that technology offers us in order to be literate.
Right, and through the progressed technology, we are able to communicate with people from all over the world.
Yeah, this allows us to build cross-cultural connections around the world, which could also help nations both domestically and externally pose and solve problems by collaboration.
Right. By giving us the equipment to design and share information globally, technology allows us to meet a variety of purposes and needs around the world.
However, because so many things can be done with technology and almost anything can be posted on the internet, it is important to know how to create, critique, analyze, and evaluate multimedia texts.
True, and especially because almost any type of information can be accessed from the web, it is necessary to be able to manage, analyze, and synthesize multiple streams of simultaneous information in order to receive and generate the best understanding of concepts from outside sources.
And therefore have the ability to respond to our ethical responsibilities required by our ability to look into such complex environments around the world.
Wow, so the definition of literacy really has changed.
Let's explore! Technology offers so many tools to every user that not knowing how to take advantage of these technological advances will put you a few miles behind the rest of society. For example, if I didn't know how to use my handy-dandy iPhone, would I still be able to function?
Gee, I don't know, Brooklyn. However, it is so much more complicated than that. Because literature is being published in so many new and different formats, it is easy to become an outcast in the world of literature if not caught up. Two very popular mediums today are video and audio. Just think of how many podcasts and movies are being discussed in classes and workplace these days.
I know! Podcasts and videos are a few of the most effective ways to communicate. Additionally, digital media is able to be shared by a few clicks of a button to the entire world.
Back when I was a wee first semester freshman, to develop a proficiency and fluency with technology, my English class made an audio essay. Through sound alone, I was able to communicate and persuade my audience to look differently about the future of space exploration. By using strategic music and sound effects, I was able to more effectively communicate my argument than I would have had in the traditional written essay.
Probably because the sound effects and music allow the listener to feel as though they are physically in the scene you were talking about. Speaking of space, let's blast off to Dublin, where we will delve into the second aspect of literacy in the 21st century.
Welcome to Dublin. Here we will cover the importance of image.
Is there a better place to analyze the beauty and power of image?
Of course not. While a camera is great for capturing awesome moments in awesome places, it's a great utility for making an argument. For it is true that a picture is worth 1,000 words.
However, it is tricky to know how to best capture images to prove such arguments. I remember starting the visual essay in Professor Gray's writing class. The idea of developing and supporting a thesis through image looked impossible.
But after lots of practice and image analysis, it became clear how powerful a sequence of images can be.
Right? For example, in my essay that addressed the restriction of gender roles and requirements, I was able to apply contrast, gaze, and rule of thirds to fully capture my argument with each image. But there are so many other affordances too. For example, there are numbers, placement, angle, view, and many more.
I thought that was a strong essay. The thing about visual essays, if it's well done, they can reel in so many different types of emotions from the viewers. Plus, people love compelling images, so with the right ones and the right argument, Such images will be sent around the world in seconds and could even possibly create a movement.
True. I know that when my friends and I go on vacation around the world, we love to bring back images of different cultures and different lands and lifestyles. They're so intriguing. It reminds us of how important it is to celebrate all cultures and all countries.
Which is the perfect way to potentially lead to world peace.
Not perfect, picture perfect.
Being a literate writer in the 21st century is very important when it comes to communicating to faraway communities.
Through digitalization, different global communities can communicate by the means of taking down language barriers and cultural differences. The best way to demonstrate this is through video, so different areas around the world can not only hear, but see the arguments being made.
Of course, this is so there's no faulty interpretations, right?
Right. And furthermore, video allows us to expand our understanding of different cultures.
In order to be an effective, literate global citizen, it is important to think critically and not only be able to organize your own ideas, but other ideas around the world.
Which we learned in Writing 101 by analyzing and synthesizing articles and completing assignments, such as source defense, which taught us how to pick and choose credible information and understand why it's relevant to our argument.
Not only that, but having an organized and understood list of evidence can help writers come together and synthesize new ideas.
Word. Where to next?
Maidan, Russia! Roll out!
Another way to be an effective communicator of the 21st century is not only by creating multimedia work, but also being able to critique, analyze, and evaluate such texts.
When it worked, being able to ask critical questions is a very skillful and handy tool. For example, what is the text implying? How might the author be right or wrong? What kind of support does he or she use, and is it effective?
Another reason having the ability to critique and evaluate media is so that when creating a work or helping a friend create a work, having that knowledge of what the audience is looking for will be very insightful.
This is true. For example, when Brooklyn and I wrote our first essays in Writing 101, taking the time to edit each other's papers with those questions as guidance allowed us to really dissect the paper.
Especially after Olivia gave me back my paper with her notes, it was easy to make the edits needed because after discussing my paper, it was obvious why and how changes need to be made. Another media type I experienced this skill to be effective is for audio works. When we did sound analysis, one of the only ways to fully comprehend the work was by thinking critically and being able to evaluate the significance of each sound effect, recording, and statement.
Exactly. Because there should never be any meaningless sounds in an audio work, or really any work. Therefore, having the ability to understand why each detail is important to the message is very beneficial.
Finally, all of these qualities of a strong 21st century writer are crucial for one reason, and that is so that we can attend to the ethical responsibilities of our own environments and of other environments.
In Writing 101, we learned that video is an effective media form to persuade an audience.
Your video essay was about empowering women to become entrepreneurs in developing countries, right?
Right. We addressed how women in third world countries deserve more opportunities to create work for themselves around their own time and in the needed field of healthcare. We introduced an organization called Living Goods, and hopefully we will encourage our viewers to get involved with the organization's mission or donate.
Speaking of mission, I would say mission accomplished.
I think so too. By analyzing what we learned through the multimedia essays, it's pretty clear that we've grown closer to becoming successful participants in the overall 21st century global society. Back to Gonzaga?
I don't know, Managwa's pretty nice.
We'll be home for Christmas.
Catch us next week when we cover the highlights and the lowlights of missing cat Whiskers and his 700-mile journey from Illinois to North Carolina to find true love.
Thanks for joining us, and good night, America.